Close one last night, but not quite. We had this stack on Siakam and TJ McConnell. This would have not panned through, but the COD one hit very easily. Honestly, Siakam McConnell was looking good, but eventually McConnell ended up clearing that 10.5 points down to 15 points, and we did not cash. But 3-1 on that slip. The other slip, there was 2 DNPs, guys. When there is DNPs, at least 2 of them on a 6-man, always refund the entry because you're losing value when you're going from a 6-man to a 4-man. So in this case, the stack on Naismith and Precious did not hit. Then only Bo Naylor played out of the Cleveland hitters. They did not get too many hits. They still won the game, and Tristan McKenzie did clear his pitcher fantasy score. But obviously this was a dead slip as soon as there was 2 DNPs. All the reasons I played the stack in the first place kind of got diminished by the fact that there was DNPs. Other than that, I did manage to cash out the Discord for this play here with the free square on Scotty, and you can see the strategy I used here. Stack on Pittsburgh hits, runs, RBIs. If the Pirates are getting hits and doing well as a team, the opposing pitcher is going to go under his pitcher strikeout. So I'm going to use this exact same strategy again today and show you guys in this video. The reason I wasn't able to get this one out for you guys in the video was because the video got out a little bit late, and I think the free square is pretty much gone by the time my video was up. So unfortunately, I couldn't share that with you guys. We'll get onto the board. I have a 6-man as well as 2 4-mans. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to go to the NBA to start and take a triple stack. So this stack is going to include Daniel Gafford on his over 9.5 points and Derek Jones on his over 9.5 points. Of course, since we're grabbing 2 players to go over their points, especially 2 players who heavily rely on assists, you could already imagine we are going with Luka Doncic on his over assists. Now, if you're new here, you might not understand what I'm doing, but this is just a triple stack within the Dallas Mavericks. If Doncic is having a very good assisted game, players around him who rely heavily on assists, like Derek Jones and Gafford, I mean, pretty much the whole team relies on assists except for Kyrie. Even Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and Tim Hardaway rely on assists. Daniel Gafford did not clear this last game, but he did clear it in this 4th game in the last 5. And same thing for Derek Jones. I mean, he's been absolutely crushing this line. Do not expect him to drop 17, 19 points, anything like that. But all he needs is 10 points to cash this. So it doesn't necessarily matter that he got 17 and 19. We seem to get exactly 10 points, and this cashes. You can see cashed in this game 4, like Gafford here. So you can see Derek Jones went over. Gafford also went over in that same game 4. And if I go and show you Doncic on his assists, he also cleared this line in the 4th game here. So this triple stack did hit 2 games ago. Unfortunately, did not hit last game. Doncic did clear the assist prop here. Gafford did not, as we could see right here in game 5, but Derek Jones did clear it, of course. But again, these guys are all heavily reliant on assists, and you could check this with the NBA scoring on NBA.com. This is stats straight from them, the cleanest data out there. If we go to check Gafford, 82.4% of his field goals made are going to be assisted, which means if he's scoring 10 points, about 8 of those points are going to be assisted. That could be 4 potential assists for Doncic. Of course, there's also Kyrie, who's been doing very well in the assist department, but of course Doncic is that main man who's going to be getting the assists, so that's great to see. 82.4%. And then it's very similar for Derek Jones here. 90.7% of his field goals made are going to be assisted. That's pretty much exactly what you want to see. If these guys are clearing their points props, it's very likely someone is getting a ton of assists, or just the Dallas Mavericks team as a whole is getting a lot of assists. And since Doncic is that guy who's going to be distributing the ball a lot, you could see how this makes sense. If these guys are both clearing the points props, 20 points, and assuming none of those are free throws, that is at least 10 potential assists for Doncic. And that's assuming they only get exactly 10 points. Obviously, if they have better games, that's going to be more and more potential assists for Doncic. Now, the same concept does apply if you were to go under. So why are we going more in this case? If we go over to Gafford and check the juice on him, you're going to see minus 119 towards the over. So he does have juice towards the over because his under 9.5 points is set at minus 112. The higher the minus, the more likely it is to occur. So Gafford's over is the correct play. And for Derek Jones, I'm actually going against the juice today because you see he does have juice towards that under. But because of how correlated Doncic's assists with Derek Jones' points are, I feel okay to take it because, again, Derek Jones is not going to be clearing this line unless people are assisting the ball. So it's okay to sacrifice some juice in the name of correlation. For Doncic, I love his 9 assist line. You can see on the Sportspicks, he's set at 9.5. Yes, there's juice towards the under at minus 145. But at 9, it's a massive difference versus 9.5. Think of all those half points that you guys lose by. This is going to save us from that, and we get a push line instead. We revert down to a 5x. We could still cash a 10x. There's a lot of good potential here on the 9 assists. Moving on to MLB, I'm going to make another triple stack there, and hopefully tonight there's no DNPs, guys. As I said, if there is those DNPs and some of these batters don't play, please just refund the slip. We lose a ton of value if the slip is not still a 6-man. So let's start it off. We're going to be fading the Detroit Tigers tonight. We're going with Perez on his under 1.5 hits run plus RBIs. And we're also going to be taking another Detroit player here on Kana on his under 1.5 hits runs RBIs. So if we check this expected lineup for Detroit, you can see both these guys batting one after each other, or expected to be batting. We got Kana at 2nd and Perez at 3rd batting position. If Kana's not getting a hit, it's less likely that Perez is going to get an RBI. And of course, it's less likely that Kana is going to get a run because he's not on base. So essentially, if these first 3 batters are doing bad at every at-bat, it's more likely that they both go under the hits, runs, RBIs together. On top of that, if the team as a whole is not getting a lot of hits, then we're going to have maybe 1 less at-bat for all these guys. Since they're at the start of the lineup, more likely that they for sure get 4 at-bats, but maybe they don't get 5. And of course, it's a massive difference between getting 4 at-bats and 5 at-bats in a game, especially when we're taking unders. Now, because we're taking the unders on both these guys, I want to take under on the pitcher fantasy score too, and it might seem like it's not correlated at all, but it actually is, because Jack's pitcher fantasy score actually relies on Detroit doing well, because we go to the scoring chart and you do get points for a win or a quality start. And to get a win, of course, your team has to be in the lead. So the 2 guys we took are not getting their hits, runs, RBIs. It's less likely that Detroit is going to have a lead, which means our pitcher here is also less likely to get that win. And in this specific case, Arizona is the favorite for tonight, so they should be in the lead this game, and hopefully Jack is not getting any sort of points for a win. Last thing I like to check is the RotoWire optimizer. I put in Jack, and you can see he is expected to get 28.05 fantasy points. If you notice on Prizepicks, we have him at 30.5 pitcher fantasy score. So at least in terms of projections, we're getting 2.5 extra points of fantasy score. So I do like this triple stack here. So if Detroit loses tonight, it's very likely that all 3 of these guys hit. That is why I'm going for that. And one thing I forgot to mention is the juice on these players. If we go over to DraftKings here, you're going to see on Kana, we have juice towards the under all the way up at -130. Again, the higher the minus, the more likely it is to occur. That is a great prop to go with. And then Perez is also similar here at -125. So in this case, Kana is the better prop to go under than Perez. But we also get that beautiful correlation effect amongst them too, as well as the pitcher. So this is the first slip. I'm going to get straight into the second slip based on what I showed you guys in that intro on that free square slip that we hit. So I'm going to go make an exact same similar concept. We're going over to the Mets. We're grabbing Brandon on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, and Lindor on his over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. So complete opposite concept to what I just went for Detroit. I'm expecting the Mets to do well. These guys are expected to bat first and third in the lineup. They're up against Miami. It's an easier matchup, so hopefully they're getting more at bats. Hopefully they're running each other in. There's all kinds of things that could possibly happen for these guys to go within the same direction. Now, if we want these guys to go in the same direction and do well, and hopefully early on, we're going to go to MLB Live and take an under on the opponent pitcher strikeouts. So in this case, we could go for to Braxton Garrett, who they are up against, and grab his under 2.5 pitcher strikeouts in the first 3 innings. Now, this is great because honestly, Brandon and Lindor could get 2 at-bats within those first 3 innings. Imagine if they do have a very good first inning, well, then you're going to get through 9 batters for sure in those first 3 innings, and you might get an extra at-bat for both these guys. You might be able to get through 12 batters within the first 3 innings. Which means if these guys both get hits or runs, RBIs within those first 2 innings, and their start is very good, then it's very unlikely that Garrett goes over his pitcher strikeouts because he's going to be getting dominated by the Mets. Of course, if people are getting hits, runs, RBIs, he's not going to be doing very well as a pitcher if the other team is scoring, which means he's probably not striking them out. Maybe he's giving walks. Whatever it may be, if Garrett is not doing well, the other team is likely to be doing well. As for the juice on Garrett, you're not going to be able to find anything that exists like this. There's no first 3 innings props on any other sportsbooks, but we could take a look at the juice on both Brandon and on Lindor. Again, back to DraftKings. If we check this on Brandon, he does have juice towards you over at -130, which is great to see, similar to that Mark Hanna pick. And then on Lindor also has juice towards you over at -130. So not only are these guys juice within the same direction, they are extremely correlated together, and we're correlating it even more with the opposing pitcher on his under strikeouts. Now, never play 3-man, so we're not going to lock this in as a 3-man, even though we technically could. This only pays 5x. On Underdog, you get 6x. On Dabble, you get 6x. 5x is a terrible payout in this industry. What is a good payout is the 4-man. So we're going to turn this into a 4-man, but I just have one pick that I could go with. I'm going to be going over to soccer, and there's a beautiful pick. We flagged this on the OddsJuice dashboard. Honestly, there's a lot of good soccer right now. You're going to see this guy Gerardo here, -263, or translate that into actual win percentage, 72.45% chance that this man right here, Valenzuela, goes under his 1.5 shots. You're going to see also another good prop, Pavel Perez, on his under 1.5 shots, -211, 67.85% chance that he goes under. Now, I'm going to go with this guy here, Valenzuela. That's the most juiced, most likely to go under. But for reason, if these guys are bumped or off the board, or you're watching this very late and everything's gone, you have a couple other replacement picks to go with, all in soccer and all very, very good props. So we're going to go with this guy to end it off. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but my algo on soccer is pretty good here on oddsjuice.com. So we're going to go with just this Cincinnati player here over in the MLS, and then just lock this in as the first 4-man. We're going to straight into a last 4-man that's going to be strictly esports. Let's go over to Valorant. I'm targeting Moist versus Oxygen here, and we're going to be taking 2 unders in this case. The first player is going to be Mada on his under 37.5 map 1 2 kills. The second player is going to be Dapper on his under 27.5 map 1 kills. Again, if you're new on esports, Valorant specifically, and CS2, it's a round-based game. So there's no time limit. It's first to 13 rounds. So in maps that are quicker in the sense that it's like a 13-2 or a 13-3 map, then that means there's going to be less opportunities for both these guys to get kills because they're playing in the same game. If there's less rounds, that affects both teams, right? If there's less time or less rounds or less minutes, let's say, that's going to affect both teams and their ability to both get kills. Yes, one team could be dominating and getting more kills overall, but in general, with less rounds, there's less kills. So that's why you go and take one player from one team and one player from their opponent team and grab them in the same direction. So in this case, we're going under. Now, we're going under in this specific case because we compare these lines to other sportsbooks or other DFS sites that have the same one. So Mada is set at 37.5 on Prizepicks. On Underdog, he's set at 36.5. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, one kill difference, but every kill counts, every 0.5 counts, every single discrepancy you could get in your favor, you want to take it. So we're grabbing the under 37.5 on Prizepicks, because if we want to take the over, let's go take the 36.5 on Underdog. It would be the better play. Now, Dapper here is similar concept, set at 27.5 on Prizepicks, set at 27 on Underdog. Doesn't seem like a lot, but every half point's going to count. If he gets exactly 27 map 1-2 kills, we get that win on Prizepicks. We would not get that win on Underdog. Now, the next two picks are going to be the exact same concept. This one is going to be on Corey. So he plays for Turtle Troop. So to pair him up, we're going to go with Nismo here on his under 30.5 map 1-2 kills. Exact same concept. I'm not going to explain it again, but I will show you the discrepancy compared to Underdog. You check Corey, he's set at 30.5 on Underdog. We have him at 34.5. So in this case, we're getting 4 kills of value compared to Underdog. Technically, you could middle this. So middling is essentially you take the under on Prizepicks, over on Underdog. If he lands at 31, 32, 33, or 34, you win both props. So you win it on Underdog and you win it on Prizepicks. That's a bit more of an advanced strategy. I'm not going to get too into it, but it's great to see that 4 kills of value on that specific prop. And then Nismo, he's set at 30.5 on Prizepicks. Let's see on Underdog, he is set at 29. So 1.5 kills of value there. This is a great 4-man stack on Valorant, and we've been doing very well on the Valorant props. So let's see if we can continue and maybe cash this 10x on this specific one. The other slips are also good though. So let's lock this in. That's 3 slips for you guys tonight. Good luck, everyone.